All right, let's go get started. Howdy, howdy, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sharkinbear, and welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to be checking out the Myrmidon and looking at a build guide for that one. There's actually going to be a second video using the same exact build a little bit later. That's mostly because I'm using my fresh account right now that you can see I've been working on with the skill tree right here, still working on filling it out and unlocking characters. The only character I've really touched right now is the Engineer, and I have gotten all of the maps to Curse Tier 7. This will basically come about in a little near future video where I'm basically going to make a tier list as well as suggestions and tips based on my basically experience working through a fresh save now that 1.0 has come out. So maybe that'll help alleviate some pains or growing pains for those of you who are still working through the cursed tiers and having some struggle issues there. But again, we're focusing on the Myrmidon, and with this Myrmidon build, it's so strong that I actually took it in a Titan hunt and had a great time. And I also want to show that this build is also still very capable of handling itself in a non-Titan hunt run. So today we're actually going to be focusing on using Songs of the Siren. I have it at +5 right now. It's fairly easy to get the materials for that at the moment, so I'm actually really enjoying that. As far as the abilities we're going to be using, we're going to be using Glacial Trident and Frozen Shard, which come default with the weapon. We're also going to be pairing that with Avalanche. Avalanche is a Christmas event related ability. If you want to know how to do the Christmas event, I do have a video. It's my beginner's guide, and I actually have a section dedicated to how you complete those Christmas events. So you'll at least want to do Curse Intensity 18 on the Frozen Wastelands in order to get this ability. And then we're also going to be taking Ice Vortex because it's just a strong overall ability here. As far as runes go, that's going to cover the last two abilities, which we're going to take through Skill Mastery. This will allow us to take Frozen Warhammer, which is an elemental ability, and Glacial Affinity, which is actually a Death Knight ability. So for the Death Knight ability to be active, you do have to at least have the Death Knight, I believe at level 70, so you can unlock the last weapon, because Glacial Affinity is tied to that weapon. But this is a very, very strong weapon ability to have, because you can see Glacial Affinity temporarily increases your damage modifier based on the number of stacks of slow. So based off the fact that we're going to be using a lot of slow here, we are going to be having so many stacks that Glacial Affinity should definitely be a massive damage increase for ourselves. As far as our tenacity runes, we're going to be taking Dash Mastery. Enduring Cold. Whenever you trigger Icy Veins, there's a 20% chance that Icy Vein stacks will not be consumed. And then we have Divine Legacy, because I do like having the legendary runes or passives every 25 levels. And we're also going to be taking Multicast Mastery. So that's what we're going to be running with today. As far as the skill tree for the Myrmidon, you definitely want to focus on the Ascension tree, because the Ascension for the Myrmidon is actually fairly great. It's called Blessing of the Depths, and every once in a while, once you fill a bar up with what's called Fervor, a trident will basically hit the ground, you'll pick it up, and then you'll be empowered for, I believe it's like 45 seconds, something like that. It's a pretty great Ascension to have. So I filled out all my Ascension nodes here, as well as these extra diamond nodes over here that actually apply effects to all of our characters. So now all of our characters have increased 5% crit chance. I haven't worked on the armor one over here, but the crit chance one is pretty good. I also have the critical damage multiplier as well. So we are going to jump into a Cursed Tier 7 run using the Myrmidon. Again, if you like the sort of content you want to see more build guides videos like this, make sure you are like, subscribe, comment down below, and let's jump into this Tier 7. Alright, so we're going to start out here, and this might actually start off a little slow, but immediately we can see that the ice powers are really just kind of doing their work. I think I've probably noted this in my older videos, but it might just be that I'm crazy ever so slightly, but I find that if you actually hug near walls and corners in arenas, you'll find, or at least I find, that enemies tend to spawn in greater ways. So if I go down to this corner, again, this could be all of my head stuff. You can see from the right and south wall here, I feel like more and more enemies are spawning than normal. This is usually where I hang out in one of the four corners of the map. I generally like finding one of these pieces that hangs out just a little bit away from the walls, because enemies can spawn off of those as well. But once I find one of these walls, I kind of usually just hang out near one of those. So we're going to go ahead and start banishing the skills we don't need. And we got Frozen Warhammer. And Frozen Warhammer is actually really sick for us because basically what it does is it does damage based on the amount of slow stacks that we have on targets. So that's going to be really good. We didn't talk about the artifact power. Because of the fact that I do have a weapon at +5, we have unlocked our artifact power. Artifact power is unlocked for your weapon at +4. We now summon Gilkin's Servant, summon Severance that cause damage, and apply slow. And they do go after priority targets because they have cunning, which is really cool. And as you can see right there in the middle of my health bar, we have that little trident filling up. As we kill enemies, we're going to be getting fervor, which allows us to basically summon a trident that empowers us. As far as the trident goes, you can see right here, whenever we get that, we have 20% additional crit damage, extra armor, extra cast frequency, and additional movement for as long as we have that filled up there. I think we already have slow pretty much on everything. I'm going to take the lethality for the moment. And that shield tower is all the way over there. I'm actually going to kind of work my way around the outside of the map. And hopefully we can get to that tower before the Voidlord spawn. Because I do want to take that tower out. The worst thing that can happen is having multiple versions of that tower out. Because for every one of these blue towers, we do have to concern ourselves with the fact that enemies, including Voidlords, will take 20% reduced damage for each one out. I'm going to go ahead and increase the area effect of my Frozen Warhammer, because Frozen Warhammer will actually be one of our strongest skills, including the Ice Vortex as well, so we really wouldn't be going wrong with either one of those. Let's kind of stay out of the way of this poison here. Area effect of our Warhammer yet again. I am hoping that I get some speed, some additional movement here, because I am feeling rather slow at the moment. But I'm sure we'll be just fine. Oh, we have Jawstorm right there, but we're not going to go ahead and take that. We'll go ahead and start using our rerolls here. We got Avalanche. Avalanche is going to be fantastic for us. Avalanche being one of the few abilities that we have access to, and the main reason why I'm taking it is because it does offer that fragility, which means we will actually be able to offer some extra damage to our targets. I am now going to pick up our Trident since our bosses are now spawning. And we are looking for our last ability, which is Glacial Affinity. And this is going to give us a massive damage buff. I'm going to go ahead and go with Lethality. We do have Reroll Mastery, and I do like actually having Reroll Mastery here, just because I like to being able to roll for the additional things that I want. We're going to turn that off. I'm hoping we can roll for some movement and some multicast and cast frequency. There's some movement. Nice. I do like the 20% movement buff. That is nice. We're going to go with the Relentless. And see, it looks like every time we cast an ice skill, we might use Slam. Seeing as how we have nothing but ice skills, that's just going to ramp up our Frozen Warhammer even more. Increase our lethality there. And just like that, we just popped all of those bosses. That was crazy fast. I wasn't actually expecting to take all of them down that quickly. What is our damage modifier is already at 339%. And yeah, no, that's insane. I'm going to go ahead and add this extra touch of ice. I'm not entirely sure if this is the case, but I do believe the percentages for the slow on ice, even though they don't do damage, when they stack up on targets, I'm assuming they're kind of like burns and poisons and the doom and stuff like that, and where they still build up stacks, and the higher the percentage, the more stacks you have. So I'm actually going to assume that maybe that slow might work like that. Now, I'm not definitively sure on that. Let's not swear to it, but it'd be cool if that was the case. I'm going to re-roll here. I'm actually going to go with Relentless, so we have additional cast frequency. I'm going to go with Glacial Trident. And we're just going to hang out here in the corner until we see the next shield tower spawn up. But so far, we're making great progress with this build. I really honestly think that the Avalanche and the Glacial Affinity might be some of the best buffs that you can use, especially if you're using an ice build. It doesn't matter what character you use. If you're feeling like the ice builds are a little underwhelming, I heavily suggest, if you don't have any fragility-based abilities like Avalanche in your build, You should also take Avalanche and or pretty much always Glacial Affinity. That just is too strong to pass up. We're almost already at our second set of Lords. This is actually very fast. Like, this is incredibly fast for what I was trying earlier. I'll just have you know that I tried this without those abilities. It's not the same. It's not even remotely the same. It almost feels essential to use these abilities. I'm going to go ahead and increase the area effect for sure. Let's see if I can hammer these guys out a little bit here. We are taking some damage there. Gonna take this guy out. Apply a whole bunch of stacks there. And somehow we managed to get the Kathaz back there in the back. That's, I thought we were going to have to get a little bit closer to her, so that's cool. And we still have quite a bit of our fervor left from our trident. I'm going to go ahead and use the area effect for everything there. I would like to get some more health, but movement does feel a little lacking as well, of course, like I said. I would be tempted to say that if you were okay with the dashing, maybe you could swap out Dash Mastery with Light-Footed, which basically gives you base 20% additional movement speed. And that can be found in the Assassin skill tree. Looks like we do have a tower down there, but it's not a shield tower, so I'm not going to really concern myself with it. I tend to just ignore those entirely because they don't really do too much. Like, they're just going to put more red circles on the ground, but as long as you keep moving, which I'm going to turn on my visibility a little bit, you should still pretty much knocking them out of the park. As you see right there, at 4 minutes and 45 seconds, we're already pulling up the next set of Void Lords. I'm going to go ahead and grab my trident here. And this back little corner, by the way, probably one of the worst places you can fight Void Lords. If I had been thinking about it, which I should be thinking about it, might want to be better off just absolutely wiping the floor of these guys. Jesus. You might be better off looking at your kill counter for when the next set of Lords would spawn, and then like try moving away about 50 kills away from whenever they're going to spawn. Alright, so there goes that. And we are an absolute monster right now. This is crazy to me. I'm actually going to move away from the wall. We're making such fantastic time. This actually might turn into one of my fastest character clears for tier 7 so far. Let's see. Here we go. We got a whole bunch of legendaries. I'm actually going to take the Avalanche first. I'm going to move back to my corner. That's where I feel comfortable around. You know what? No, we're going to stay here. We're about 50, or we're at 100 kills away, but I think we're still in a good spot to fight the Void Lords about here. I am going to use... lock this and take this because Frozen Warhammer. And our Trident just pierced the ground. So we can go ahead and work on picking that one up immediately. And the good news is picking up this Trident does, in fact, give us additional movement speed. So the one thing that I'm really craving is that additional movement. There goes 2 of them down. I'm going to go ahead and take these guys out. Increased duration of Kathaz. Or the Glacial Affinity, not Kathaz. Ooh, some movement. I'll take the additional 10% movement. And we're already down to our last set of Void Lords. At 6 minutes and 30 seconds. That's crazy. Let's see. I don't really think it matters. You know what? I'm gonna take a little bit of armor. Because we are lacking a little bit of health. So there is that. But this is scaling up really well. And the more that we actually get in cast frequency and multicast, we're going to see ourselves skyrocket in the damage modifier. We're still at, I think we're a little bit higher. We're at 462. When I was doing this in Titan Hut, I actually had a 1300% damage modifier. It was absolutely insane. Pairing that with the build that we used for that one, which I'll showcase in my Titan Hut video for that, I was actually able to keep that consistent and delete bosses extremely quickly. Alright, so there goes those guys. We're about 105 kills off from the bosses showing up. So we're definitely going to have them summon here before the 8-minute mark, which is absolutely fine. We do have a trident up here. I'm going to go grab. I'm going to go ahead and lower my visibility ever so slightly. Jesus Christ. I'm going to go ahead and lock the magnetic. We're going to take the damage increase. Who's left alive? Alexis, he's dead. And that was the build. We actually completed the whole thing before the 8-minute marker. That's nice. 7 minutes and 48 seconds. That's crazy good. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and try out like the first little layer of Overlord here. And as always, whenever you go into Overlord, the first level, or the first little round of enemies is always going to be the toughest because they do scale up. So we are fighting scaled up enemies. But as we get these first couple of level ups here, we're going to see our damage pop off a little bit more as well. I am going to go with a little bit of health. I'm going to go with area effect, absolutely. And our fervor, our trident is right here in the middle. There goes a Frozen Warhammer buff. We're going to go ahead and increase the damage of our Ice Vortex. I am going to take the health. Ouch, we did get hit by that. But we are fine. There we go. Pop those guys. Ooh, we got disarray. I'm going to go ahead and turn down our visibility. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and increase the slow intensity because I do think it might actually be adding more stacks. I'm going to go with potency of our buff there. Lethality. Powerful strikes also wouldn't be too bad. I don't like everything there. Damage modifier? Yes. I'm actually going to only take 2 of these. I'm going to take damage there, and then we'll take the multicast next. And then we got a shield tower up top that we definitely want to pop before the Void Lords come up. And we are still actively working with the... No, we're not. Okay, so we're going to lose the trident here. But it should still be fine. If I don't get stuck on stuff. Oh, yeah. No, this is fine. Deletion is still fairly possible there. Who's left? The Plague Bear. There we go. He's gone. I'm going to take Behemoth. And now all we got to do is clear out the next little bit of elites here. Oh, we already have our trident back. Nice. I'm going to go with more health. I'm not going to try to waste all my rerolls just yet. But we are absolutely doing work here. And we're finally starting to feel a little bit faster with the agile we're getting. We're now at 70% speed. Alright. Go ahead and pick up our trident here. Actually took that tower out before I had time to come out of the ground entirely, which is nice. Alright. Kathaz, the last one left. Ooh. I want Avalanche, but I do want the speed first. Dang. Alright. There we go. Starting to feel that. Nice. I am glad we did hold on to some of the locks and the rerolls. Take the area effect for a Frozen Warhammer. Alright. Oh, and our damage modifier is absolutely taking off there. What's our damage modifier at? 631%. Awesome. Relentless. There we go. and now we are down to our last set of Void Lords. We're going to have to fight our Trident landing, so we'll have that available for us whenever we fight the last set of Void Lords, which is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and increase potency here. And we're about a little more than halfway to fighting the next set of Lords. Something did pop us pretty hard across the screen, but we are fine. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my Trident. You don't have to hold out for the Trident if you don't want to. It might actually make things go faster if you actually picked it up, because it does actually give you a fair bit buff, as we both know. I'm allowing myself to get hit right here. Alright, let's start clearing these guys off the board. Down to the last one, and there we go. I'm going to end the run here. That's just showcasing a little bit of power from the Myrmidon using this very sick build. I really do truly like it. Frozen Warhammer coming out on top, 958 million damage flat. That's pretty cool. And that being said, I know that I'm high level here, but honestly, this isn't that hard to achieve. I will say, honestly, a lot of people might be scared of taking a fresh level 1 into anything. They might be, I actually saw someone who said they want to turn down their curse intensity whenever they unlock a new character so they can go down to curse level 1 and actually fight the bosses from starting to curse tier 1. But honestly, I actually take most of my characters, even fresh new ones. Like when I try the engineer for the first time, I'm actually going to take him into a curse tier 7. And the whole reason why is because it might be a little bit slower because I don't have access to all of his active abilities. A lot of them are off the sheet right here, but all these other ones are still unlocked, which means he can still build like a pretty good toolkit on his own, and he won't have his ascension ability. That's true, but I can still complete a full curse tier 7 with a level 1 character. And if you actually stick it through and actually manage to complete a full curse tier 7, you're going to net 30 to 40 ability, levels immediately with this guy. And if you actually take him into Overwatch, or not Overwatch, Overlord, and complete the first tier of Overlord, you're probably going to be at least around level 70 just from Overlord 1 on your first match with a character. It's pretty insane how fast you can level a character that's freshly new. But that being said, that was a look at the Myrmidon build. Again, for the weapon that we use Song of the Siren. For skills, we use the two base default skills that we have, paired with the Avalanche skill that comes from the Christmas event, and Ice Vortex, just because it's a really strong skill. We're building all up that slow, in combination with our Ice skill mastery here that gives us Frozen Warhammer, which does damage based on the amount of slows we have, and Glacial Affinity, which really pumps up our base damage modifier. It gives us a lot of oomph there. We also took Reroll Mastery, and for my Tenacity runes, I took Dash Mastery, but you could actually take Light Feet if you would rather have the quicker movement speed, which I would actually think that maybe I might actually be fine with that one. For the other runes, I took Enduring Cold, which basically makes it to where sometimes you don't actually consume your Icy Flow stacks or your Icy Vein stacks. Divine Legacy, so we have those legendary runes or passives every 25 levels, and Multicast Mastery. Divine Legacy is actually found in the Arcane Weaver tree. It is the final rune that you unlock with her, but definitely fully worth the effort to do so. As far as those Icy Veins related runes, those are actually located in the Myrmidon's tree, so you should have fair quick access to these if you would like. That being said, if you like the sort of content, you want to see more build guides like this, as well as the tier list I have coming out soon, make sure you are like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think of the build, and until next time, you guys take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Later.